You also had quite a run in Mid South Wrestling. Just wanted to get your memories of working that territory and its very extensive drives, and the Cowboy Bill Watts working for him. How did that come together?
Well, I was in Kansas City and they changed bookers. And when they changed bookers, Jody Hamilton brought in his own crew and he got me booked in Mid South. Now, at the time, Mid South was not running the Oklahoma end. We were only
Okay.
doing Louisiana and Mississippi. I got there on a Friday night. My first match was with Jerry Oates. To this day, I've never met him outside the ring because the dressing rooms were on opposite sides of the building. See if the kids today could do it. And the next day after the match, I stayed at Jake Roberts' house that night, and he said, they were going to fire you last night. They were going to give me one match to prove myself. Watts, Robley, and Grizzly Smith. And luckily, I had a decent match. I led the whole match. So I had a good match, so they kept me. And then early on, I was either wrestling Jake or Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who was Dizzy Ed Golden at the time. And at the time, he was so clumsy. He would fall down. He had no balance. And Buck would always say, get as much time as you can with him. Do whatever you can. And it paid off later because when I work him in New York and he cut my hair, he'd just sniff off a little in the back of me where he'd shave other guys wild because we were friends, so I was lucky that way. But I spent a lot of time working with Jake, and while I worked with him, I heard he had a broken arm. And in a month that I worked with him, we never rebroke it. And the night after, Tank Patton rebroke it. So I became friends with him. So like when I went to New York, he wouldn't put the snake on me because I didn't want the snake actually on me. He would hold it. So knowing all those guys was nice. I got along great with Bill after that. In fact, when I left there, he said, you want to ever come back, just give me a call. And after the first 2 months or 3 months, Robley booked me as one of the referees in the big towns. So I got New Orleans every week, which was the big payday.
Mm.
I wasn't wrestling, but I was refereeing, which I said to Buck, I said, I really don't want to referee. And he said, yes, you do, because I want to pay you. So the other guys who were underneath were working 2 or 3 nights a week, making $200. I was working 6 nights a week, making $600. And I got to sit with Buck because I would carry finishes to the town. So I learned how to put matches together. I learned how to put finishes together. So when I came home, I was running my own territory and was able to put really good finishes together. The only thing I regret in Mid-South was leaving. After about 8 months, I called Wally up in Minneapolis and said, can I come back and work for the summer? Stan Stasiak had got me booked in Portland for the fall. And I got home and I called Wally. I said, I'm back. He says, I'm sorry, we're all full. So I went and got a job selling cars, and I basically quit the business. Mid-South, there was interesting things. One of my favorite guys I traveled with there was Junkyard Dog. And one night we got done, I don't remember, we were probably in Greenville or Greenwood, and we were going through Chula, Mississippi. Well, he picked apart a town that no white guy went to. And he said, go get us some beers. So I went in and get some beers and sodas, and I turned around and I had 6 big black guys standing around me. I was a dead man, and he knew it. So he waited just long enough to come in and put his arm around me, and then he had to put up with the piss in my pants the rest of the ride. But I really liked Junkyard Dog. We got along really good. Uh, and we traveled a lot together, and he was a trip. But they had a great territory, and we had DiBiase, and we had the Freebirds, and JYD, and Orendorff. I mean, it was a fun territory, and we were making money.
Mhm.
But just to show you how the business was at the time, Bill Watts came in on a TV, and he says, "We're the only territory in the country making real money." He says, "I'm going to raise the minimum pay from $50 to $60 on the bad towns." And $60 a night wasn't great, but it was okay. I mean, back 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Well, unfortunately, the bad towns went up, so you made an extra $20 a week. But New Orleans mysteriously went down $25. So our weekly pay actually went down.